So David's been arrested, but a lot of people are pointing the finger and asking, what about his friends? What about all the people around him that were apparently about when this A minor, Celeste, was around? What about all these people that were still chilling with him after the body was found decomposing in the trunk of his Tesla? Well, we're finally getting some updates. So, one of the first people from David's inner circle who has seemingly responded to the news of his arrest is Asia Collins. Asia. All right. She is apparently talking out. It says Asia implies to people relating to her in the David case. I think this is related to people on her Instagram talking about David recently arrested in her comment section. We need to improve the literacy levels on the David Idiot subreddit. But this is Asia apparently responding.
Sometimes I just get so fucking sad, that people just can't keep my dick out their mouth. Like, y'all got anything else better to do? Keep talking about me, though. It's chill.
So, more rage bait from this wannabe influencer, okay? People are saying, can she just shut up? This girl is completely brain dead. She's a clout-chasing leech. She wouldn't survive without social media. Stop talking. A child is dead. But me, I need validation. She is so bird-brained. Apparently, that's an insult to birds. Says she's laughing. Why? I really can't stand her. Why is it she has to make everything about herself? This girl needs to get a life. Her 5 minutes of fame are over with, and she knows it. If I was her, I probably would have taken a page from her friend Herrera and not continuously brought attention to myself. I'm not saying she's guilty or anything, but she's kind of immortalizing her name next to a murderer's. Not wise. Also, people aren't going to respond well when you make videos constantly laughing about something that actually is sad. This isn't the behavior of someone who's innocent. Cry me a river, bitch. Insanely narcissistic, pathetic. She seems to just want to be in the limelight. She needs to get some sunshine and fresh air and a reality check. But she was on vacation in Brazil not so long ago, and that didn't even help. She needs professional help. How is this idiot running around free? I just don't get it. She needs to stay with David in one cell. That would be crazy if both of them got locked at the same time. I cannot believe it. David trying to do Chucky voodoo to switch bodies with Asia appears to be having an effect. This is so cringe. This girl needs to shut the F up. You still a hood rat? Oh, and there is such a thing as karma. People are saying, I'm so goddamn tired of David's two henchmen and how they keep vaguely posting about all of this as if it's petty internet discord. Your best friend is being investigated for first-degree murder, and you're being tied into this for a damn good reason. People aren't trying to cancel you because they feel like it. She is a disgrace. I'm concerned why she says she has male private parts vomit. Why even post this bimbo? She's so cringe. Actually demented to post this when you're in the periphery of a PDF child, Emma. Neighbors say the house was loud, so he was partying with someone only people at the parties could say who was there. Girl, shut the F up. You totally knew about her being dead. This made me completely disappointed in her. I was already disappointed, but this is next level. Tone deafness, final boss, truly. Rehearsed. She talks like she's never read a book. I can fix her, though. I thought for a minute I could fix her, but now I don't know. I think she broke for good. But anyway, okay, people saying, you guys have been harassing that girl for months. You always want some way to blame a woman. I don't think so, all right? There's people arguing, but anyway, let's move on, all right? Sources are claiming that the LAPD might have actually arrested David to specifically pressure the district attorney to file formal charges because it had been so long since this investigation started.
Well, Mark and Colleen, it was 7 months ago that the body of this 14-year-old girl was found in gruesome condition in the front truck of David's Tesla that was parked here at this Hollywood tow lot behind me. So why is David now behind bars? Well, today we learned from law enforcement sources that the medical examiner's office has now ruled her death a homicide. The LAPD's elite robbery homicide division suits up and swarms a Hollywood home Thursday afternoon. LAPD Captain Scott Williams, who was on scene, tells ABC7 that the LAPD did its best to keep tabs on David during the investigation, and that the arrest is the result of an airtight investigation. Meanwhile, David's legal team says David has only been detained under suspicion. We will vigorously defend David's innocence. What's interesting about David's arrest is the LAPD cuffed him on probable cause and not an indictment from a grand jury investigation that was being led by the LA County District Attorney.
Is this highly unusual?
I would say on a case like this, it's a little out of the norm for the police to have gone out on their own and arrested him without the DA's office having made the decision to file formal charges.
Former prosecutor turned defense attorney R.J. Dreiling says it's possible the LAPD did this to push prosecutors to charge. But we do know from these unsealed court documents that prosecutors refer to David, whose legal name is David Burke, as a target in their investigation, and that the target may be involved in having committed one count of murder. Those unsealed court papers go on to say it is alleged in this case that the target may be involved in the death of 14-year-old victim Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who may have been a victim of foul play. Prosecutors in these papers then go on to describe horrific details of what police found in David's Tesla after it was found abandoned and then moved to this tow yard. They say Celeste's severely decomposing body parts were found in 2 cadaver bags in a front trunk. Barry Fisher is the former director of the LA County Sheriff's Crime Laboratory.
What is the significance of going from death unknown to the Emmy ruling that this is a homicide?
It changes the course of the police investigation.
And today we did reach out to both the LAPD as well as the LA County District Attorney's Office, and we did ask them, are they on the same page when it comes to this case? Both agencies sent back statements that didn't answer the question. But attorneys are also telling us that when it comes to this probable cause arrest, it is also possible that both the DA and the PD did that in lockstep. Regardless, we should find out much more on Monday. That's when the DA will have to announce whether they will be pursuing charges. So much more to come after the weekend.
So, look, a lot of people are spreading a bunch of cap right now saying, oh, David, they have to file charges by Monday for David to be kept or they're going to have to release him. I'm fairly certain they're going to file those charges. I think there's a lot of cope. I think there's some PR moves being pulled by David and his team to make it seem like he's innocent, to make it seem like these aren't real charges, to make it seem like they're going to just let him off scot-free on Monday. And I think that's a whole load of nonsense, a whole load of waffle. I think David and potentially some of his friends too might be facing serious charges on Monday. Now, Harvey Levin from TMZ and Mark Grigaros, the hotshot lawyer, would basically discuss apparent frustration within the LAPD regarding how this case has actually developed.
You got to stop for a second. Back this up. Are you telling me that you're hearing that the DA was not ready to file charges and the LAPD said, screw you, we're going to just arrest him when the DA wasn't ready to file charges? Is that what you're saying?
There is exactly what is happening right now, which is why there is no complaint, why the DA says it's been presented to us, which you outlined is talk about performative arts or theatrics.
I am
Who
shocked.
was leading? What office went to Judge Richmond and got the order? The DA's office. On behalf of LAPD. What office went in front of the grand jury and hassled witnesses?
The DA.
DA's office. What office dragged the Neo from out of state to LA to put him in front of grand jury? The DA's office.
But wait a minute.
Give me another. There's only one other explanation if you want me to speculate, but let's go down here.
Well, no, hold on. Before you speculate, are you saying because that's what I'm hearing, that the DA was not ready to file charges? The LAPD got frustrated and said, we're just going to arrest him. You got 4 days to file. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm hearing.
I don't understand that. But Mark, if they're not, if the DA is not ready to file charges and 4 days run out, then David walks free and LAPD has egg on its face.
No, LAPD is then going to point the finger at the DA's office.
And the DA's office is going to say, we're not ready. Are you?
So, look, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the DA is going to be ready. And as we saw in the last news report, they were saying that in actuality, the DA and the LAPD might have coordinated this. People are speculating that this is all mixed up. It's an unusual way of doing things, but maybe they wanted to keep that element of surprise. But I think they're going to charge David Monday, but there's going to be more discourse about this. It's quite interesting here.
And it does kind of align with what you're saying, that they wanted this show of force to show that the LAPD was on top of this case. And
exactly.
And I have talked to multiple people in this case, and nobody could understand why they would do it before something was filed. And you're right; it's becoming the only viable answer, that they just got frustrated and wanted to arrest this guy.
Correct. They're sitting here saying we're now into April.
Okay.
You already punted us into 2026. We're not going to be deterred here, and you're going to have to figure out your escape strategy, which is, by the way, as we're taping this on Friday afternoon, and they'll come out and deny it on Monday. But I know for a fact they're all meeting right now. As we're taping this on Friday afternoon, there is an all hands on deck meeting in the DA's office,
and an all hands on deck meeting to figure out what the hell they're going to do, because this guy's in, right, and he could get out on Monday.
By the way, if you're a defense lawyer, if you're Blair Burke or you're Matt or you're one of the others who are handling this case, you could not. I mean, you never want your client to be arrested, but this kind of misstep is what a defense lawyer's petri dish.
Can I ask you something? Obviously, you're not going to give up names, but you've kind of made it clear. Can I make an assumption that this is a DA-connected source of yours?
Absolutely. But I want to disclaim that it's
Look, he got sources in the DA, and apparently that is the narrative that is being spread. So they would also discuss potential defense strategies that David's legal team might be using during the trial. So they would kind of break down how David might actually weasel his way out of this situation, and he's definitely got some options on the table.
lawyers' petri dish with what they're going to be able to do in this case.
Yeah, and my understanding is, I mean, they clearly have already come out and said that they're going to prove, they say, that David did not kill Celeste. I will go a step further, that my sense is that they're going to say she wasn't killed at all, that this is going to be some kind of an accidental death, an overdose. Because the sense I'm also getting is that they're not necessarily going to say that David didn't know that her body was in the trunk of his car.
Well, and there's a reason for that as well. And that's why the DA is so torn on this case. They've got evidence. And we also, again, I hate to keep touting it, but they've got evidence that shows or indicates or is consistent with the fact that he had knowledge.
Yeah. And then the question, if the jury is uncertain if this was an overdose, an accident, murder, that's the reasonable doubt they're looking for. But my understanding is, just the way this is shaped up, is that they're not only saying he didn't murder her, my sense is they're saying it wasn't necessarily even a murder. It wasn't a killing. It wasn't a homicide.
Also, if you play this out, one of the things that we were perplexed about is why did they drag this kid from the...
So look, all right, okay, you get the gist. These are some defenses that he might be using. Did he know that the body, apparently there is evidence that he knew that the body was in the car. Now, a former prosecutor would explain why the condition of Celeste's body will likely not help David's defense against a homicide ruling. So listen to this.
Case for 5 months. The LAPD arrests him, presumably the DA, since they've been presenting evidence to the grand jury for all this time. They're going to file charges. Feels cart before the horse to me. Why wouldn't they just file the charges and then pick him up? They didn't even have, they could file the charges without them even becoming public and picking him up. It doesn't make sense to me why they're saying we're presenting it to the DA. DA has it.
No, you're right, Harvey. This is unusual, but I've heard some criticism, but I want to take a slightly different, more optimistic viewpoint on this. And there's 2 ways a grand jury can investigate a case. One is when a prosecutor comes in and presents evidence asking for an indictment. The other is a purely investigative function. So typically the DA's office has a reactive role where the police investigate and then it winds up on somebody's desk that's had no involvement. This one's different. The LAPD really took their time on this, which I personally support. So either this is simply they're going through the motions and they'll file it on Monday and he's entitled to an arraignment within, I think, Monday or Tuesday, depending on the hour that they arrested him. Or there's a big rift between the LADA and the LAPD is saying, screw it, we're going to arrest him, which I really doubt under Hochman's regime. So you're right, Harvey, though, it's very interesting, but I think this thing's on its way to a filing.
According to an LAPD, high-ranking LAPD source, the ME has determined that it was a homicide and that they do have a cause of death, but they're not going to reveal it yet. It seems to me like that was the big holdup here, right? Because how could you arrest David if you don't even know how Celeste died?
Yeah, that's another great question. And the answer is I can't wait to get into those grand jury transcripts, guys, because his inner circle knew. And there's an entire story behind this. And remember, this is his car. The decomp was heavy. But this one is almost like a no-body murder in a way, because juries really don't like to give the benefit to the criminal defendant of getting rid of the body or dismembering the body to a point or letting the body decompose to a point where it's difficult to tell the cause of death. When you got a guy who wrote a song called Romantic Homicide, and there's a whole inner circle that didn't want to talk, there's going to be a bunch of stuff coming forward. And, she didn't chop herself up, guys. And remember, guys, we've got a family out there of Celeste Rivas, and there are many Celeste Rivases in LA and in Southern California and all over the United States that don't get the media that this one has gotten because of how famous the suspect is. So hopefully this is a good day for those poor people. And she was sounds like she was a tough girl, ran away from home multiple times, but she was also only 14.
She was a tough kid, right? She was a kid. She was a tough kid. But basically, as he said, other people must have known what was going on with the cover-up, and it's not going to look good in court in front of a jury when it's not going to be like a no-body murder, because it's like somebody made effort to get rid of this body, and you the person that looking like you had the most to gain by doing that. Now, the latest update from TMZ is that prosecutors are officially expected to file charges this Monday. It's no if, maybe, it's they will. DA will file charges Monday in Celeste's death, all right? People talking about, LAPD messed up, David's going to walk free, cap, whole bunch of cap, right? The LA County District Attorney will file criminal charges against David Monday following his arrest for the murder of Celeste. Sources connected to the case tell TMZ. Monday is the deadline to either charge him with a crime or release him from police custody. They're going to charge him with a crime, and we're told they'll do the former, okay? It is what's going on, all right? That is what it is. There's charges coming. Can't wait for those charges, to be honest with you. But they're coming, okay? So everyone's reacting to this over on Reddit. Of course, let's see what people are saying. There's other stuff going around. It says, David allegedly threatened this family member. Is that why they're so quiet? This is apparently Celeste's cousin Wendy. Said, finally, now I can get a good night's sleep. I'm not scared of you anymore. That's David. Said, that's what you get for threatening me, piece of shit. So people are saying David was threatening the families, all that kind of thing, okay? People have been saying, I've been saying since the beginning of last year, he definitely paid the Celeste family to be quiet. I mean, everyone's been saying that, but this is the first time someone related to Celeste admits to threats. Her mother reported a threatening phone call she received after the second time she ran away, or they were threatened to be quiet. Hey, man, that's crazy. People are saying, is this Celeste's cousin? That's some serious allegations. I hope law enforcement investigates. Says they can add this to the charges, hopefully. I want to congratulate her for speaking out. Very brave. Of course, we can't jump to conclusions just yet, but this is serious. People are saying, I'm so happy for her. She keeps on speaking out for her and her cousin. It is just... It's crazy to think David was actually threatening them. Okay, it says they were being given gifts by David to stop looking for her. People saying, I still don't believe it, even when she was alive and they wanted nothing to do with her, and the fact she was always running away. People saying, I hope he gets life. All of that stuff. If he's been threatening the family needs to tell the police so they can add more charges. Witness intimidation can add 4 years. There's also a lot of people worrying about what's going to go down Monday. People saying, for everyone worried about Monday, despite the assumed fact the DA is apparently not ready to charge David and the idea he might walk free, it's important to keep in mind it doesn't mean he's going to be let off the hook. In the scenario the DA doesn't press charges, not going to happen. Because of the evidence, David is set free, but he will not be off the hook. It just means they'll likely put the case back into police custody for further investigation and hold another public hearing to decide. Does it mean it's a failure? Not at all. That's not going to happen. I don't think it's an assumed fact the DA is not ready to charge him. My assumption is the DA was aware he'd be arrested and is fully prepared to sign off on charges come Monday. This is not a case that's landing on their desk for the first time after the arrest. They probably know every detail from the grand jury and what detectives have found. They're saying it would be nice if true, except they were having an emergency meeting because the arrest caught them off guard. People saying, I read this later, but it seems like the idea came from a podcast who claimed to know people inside who claimed this happened. I don't know about you, but that's not enough for me to accept as fact. It's also expressly denied by the DA's office. Says the best punishment for him would be to wipe clean every bit of his work and online presence and forget he ever existed, make him the nobody that he is. That ain't going to happen. People are going to be getting money off of this guy for years to come, okay? I think he'll get indicted Monday and everything was planned this way. Reading that the family is preparing to make a statement as well as if the indictment is made, it seems somehow coordinated for whatever reason. Now, this is an interesting comment. It says his career is over either way. Doesn't matter what happened, he will lose either way, but I would definitely prefer if he spends the rest of his life behind bars. Also, I find it strange that Jason, Realist K, and many other artists who were close to David commented on what happened to him, but Brian Barnes, who was the closest to him, didn't say anything at all. They were literally best friends, and I remember on one of his TikTok accounts, David was hanging out with Brian Barnes a lot, and even told fans Brian Barnes is gay, and so on. Shake my head, I just find it weird he didn't say anything at all about the case as if it never happened. I'm confused about that. I'm not saying he has something to do with anything, I just find it weird. Additionally, the case also makes me realize that I just pay attention to the lyrics that those artists are saying in their song instead of focusing mainly on the beat. For instance, I remember David saying SZA made him an opener at her concerts and she loved the fact that he was an emo kid. SZA literally had a song in which she's saying she's going to kill her ex and his new girlfriend and that she would rather be in jail than alone. I'm not taking anything lightly with those celebrities anymore or putting them on a pedestal. At the end of the day, we really don't know who these people truly are. It's a good point. Now, interestingly enough, people talking about we want David's legacy of music to be wiped from the internet. Well, that could happen, because apparently, rumor has it he might have been dropped by Interscope Records, or at least he has been scrubbed from the label's site. Singer David didn't only get his freedom taken away last night, but also seemingly his label, Interscope Records, pulled his page from the website completely. On the artist page for Interscope, where all of their signed talent lives and is featured, David's page is no longer visible or listed amongst the rest of the bunch. Even when searched in a normal web browser for David and Interscope Records together, the link to his page does not appear. However, when clicking on the link, it leads to a dead end. It's unclear when exactly Interscope removed him, but records show he was still listed on there as an artist at the end of February. As we previously reported, the label pumped the brakes on the singer's yet-to-be-released deluxe album and all musical promotion for him in the wake of the LAPD investigation into the teen found butchered in a Tesla registered to him. Sources with direct knowledge told us at the time UMG, Interscope's parent company, Sony Music Publishing, and Wasserman paused all promotional activities related to David out of respect for the seriousness of the situation and the ongoing investigation. The 21-year-old singer was booked into the LAPD 77th Street Station Jail at 10:12 p.m. Thursday. Okay, he's in there, all right? So David's label is apparently taking it serious. I don't know if he's officially dropped, but they're definitely sweeping this one under the rug and still probably getting their money. People saying this might be the end for him because the last foundation of money has just pulled out of the David gravy train. I bet everybody's still counting the bread out of this. People saying you can't win a trial without money. This might be a long trial for him. If your main source of income is pulled out on you, this might feel like you're doomed. But then they're saying a record company is obliged to have artist names on their websites. I have zero knowledge on that, so I don't understand if it's a temporary marketing decision or if they no longer work together. So I reckon that they've just taken him off there just to save face, but they're still counting his portion of the label deal. It says, I'd imagine a label will have to end their contract with him under these circumstances. Interscope can easily say the guy's a liability and making us look bad and give him the boot while still profiting off his music. Yep, I'm assuming they still make money off his catalogue, whatever they own, but cut him off. It says, I'm patiently waiting for all of his music catalogue to be entirely erased off platforms. That will never happen. It says, that will be what wrecks him right now. I think he owns his music, and those views are stupid high on YouTube. He's still getting money. I hate his music. It's for edgy, dumb teenagers. But the views have only gone up, and if it disappears, nothing of value is lost. It truly doesn't matter how much money he's making right now if he's going to spend the rest of his life locked up. But it says he was removed from the website. They can't just decide not to pay him. They can drop artists, but I don't think they will. They're not going to remove his music. They want to keep making his money. They want to keep doing all of that. But look, okay, I think David, I think his friends are going to be in a lot of trouble. I think Monday we might see more than David indicted, to be completely honest with you. I think we might see accomplices, but who knows who they're going to be. You got Asia, Neo, this other decoy Celeste, maybe the family. Y'all were all together at the Fonda Theatre. Robert Morgenroth, maybe. Josh Marshall. All of these characters that we have now come to know and dislike through their association with David might be in big trouble. So let's wait and see what happens on Monday, and I'll keep you guys updated when I get the info. Peace.